Although there's competitors now ramping up, and
Yeah.
as you're familiar with BYD, which is also on the West Coast, I think they're ramping up production of their electric vehicles. Warren Buffett owns 10% stake in that. Why do you laugh? BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh?
Have you seen their car?
10 years ago, no one took Chinese cars seriously. They were slow, unsafe, and looked like cheap knockoffs. Now, you can get a brand new EV for the price of a motorcycle. And it actually looks great, drives well, and feels like a real competitor. No wonder the West is starting to get nervous. But how are Chinese EVs so cheap and still maintain a good level of quality? Let me show you how they pulled it off. From billion-dollar factories to the infamous 996 work culture. And no, I'm not talking about any Porsche. This video is about how China changed the automotive industry. But let me tell you, this is not happening without consequences. In 2024, China produced more than 31 million vehicles. That's more than the United States and Europe combined. And that's the first reason why China can offer so competitive prices. It's where economies of scale come in. The idea is simple. The more you produce, the lower the cost per unit. Because machines run more efficiently, materials are bought in bulk, and processes are easier to optimize. They can bring out so much quantity because they massively reduce the complexities of their vehicles. So building more of them gets easier. BYD, for example, integrates multiple parts into one, like their electric axle drive unit, which in a single unit includes the motor, inverter, reducer, charger, and other essential electric components. Unlike most Western brands that depend on third-party suppliers, Chinese EV makers produce most core components in-house. Motors, batteries, chips, you name it. This is called vertical integration, and it gives them the total control over cost, speed, and availability. Because fewer suppliers lead to fewer markups, and that means cheaper cars. And because nearly everything is made locally, transport and logistics are dirt cheap. Their entire supply chain is basically right outside the factory gate. But it's not just the factories, it's who works in them and how little they get paid. While the average US worker in the automotive industry earns around $35 per hour, the Chinese worker only gets paid around $3.70. That's nearly 10 times cheaper. And if cheap labor wasn't enough, the Chinese government is basically throwing cash at car makers. Subsidies, tax cuts, free land, dirt cheap loans. It's like growing a startup on steroids. The result? Explosive market growth and a full-on production race the West can't keep up with. Why spend billions on research and development when you can just reverse engineer a competitor's car? China mastered the art of learning fast. Not just copying, but improving. It's what some call copy to lead. And here's the wild part. China didn't steal the tech, they traded for it, giving Western brands access to the market in exchange for tech know-how. They watched, they learned, and now brands like BYD, XPeng or NIO are leading the race. And no, it's not just copy and paste. China's actually spending insane amounts of money to level up their tech. In 2024 alone, they poured $500 billion into research and development. That's a number with 11 zeros and more than most countries' entire budget. With that money, they are pushing technologies like new battery chemistries, bidirectional charging, or autonomous driving. But unfortunately, there's a catch. Behind these speeds and low prices is a cost most people don't see. A 2023 study found that over 53% of auto industry workers in China suffer from job-related muscle and joint problems. These injuries come from long hours of repetitive working, poor ergonomics, and non-stop production pressure. Many companies follow the infamous 996 work culture. That means working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. That's 72 hours every single week. So while Chinese EVs get produced cheaper and faster, the workers pay with their health. Burnout, exploitation, even forced labor accusations. All of it gets buried under the shiny surface of innovation. And that's not all. Some cars skip safety testing, others collect data without consent, a few brands disappear overnight, leaving buyers with no support, no parts, no future. In the race to dominate electric mobility, China's EV miracle comes with real human and ethical costs. And while the cars are cheap, someone always pays the difference. So to sum it up, the Chinese build their electric cars through scale, tech, government support, low wages and an extreme work culture. It's brilliant, but it's not free. And the West, they're trying to keep up, but China's not waiting, they're scaling where others are stalling. So if your next car is built in China, it might be the best deal you've ever seen, but remember, the price tag never tells the full story. Thank you for watching the video. If you're interested in more breakdowns of tech and economics, subscribe and like the video.